Building platforms, what a palaver, what an experience. Join me now as I show you how I got on building mine at Ashford Station. Hi everyone and welcome back to Sandling Junction. As I said in the intro, this video is all about my palaver, to say the least, on building my platforms on Ashford Station. So I'll show you all the bits and the bits that perhaps I shouldn't have done. Yeah, all I can say is I hope you make it through to the end when there'll be a little bit of running just to prove that this does work now. And with that all said, I do apologize. It's taken a little bit of time to get this video to you. I've been very busy on my other channel, my painting channel, doing a lot of work for that, but also been working on the video painting the size of these. It's a lot of footage and it's not working out too well, so I have abandoned that for the moment. I will bring it back into play at some point, but in the meantime, yeah, just enjoy this. And I catch you all at the end, and I thank you very much for watching. And like I always say in most videos, put your comments there and like and click that bell icon, and also please subscribe to the channel. I notice an awful lot of people that do watch the channel, not necessarily subscribers, so if you like the content, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help me grow my channel, and that is very important to me personally. So I thank you in advance to that, and in the meantime, get back to the nitty-gritty and let's build these platforms for Ashford Station. Bye bye, catch you all soon. Now what I've also done is I decided that I needed to bring them up by a certain amount. So what I've done is I've actually glued down some 1.4mm mount board, which I put on down the sides of every one of these platform sidings, and that will actually then bring it up to the correct amount. So if I just put this this coach, sorry, if I put that on there now, it's correct. It looks spot on. I've done a lot of not research, but looking at different ways of doing this, and I felt that maybe this was overall the right sort of height for this to be, so that's what I've gone with. So that's where we're at. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark with coaches, as I've seen other people do with a pencil, so I know where to glue these up and glue these down, so I can actually start putting these platforms together properly instead of having them sort of flopping around doing all sorts of mischief. And what I've also cut, thankfully, because I've got the apparatus at work, and I'll just pull it up, I've got several long stretches of this. This is Picture Framers MDF. It's what is it? It's a 2.4mm MDF. Okay, so to get this looking about right, I needed to have from the top of this lug here to the bottom, it needed to be 15mm. Actually, it needed to be 17 to the floor, or to sit between 15. So what I'm going to do, once this is glued in, and once these are all set up in the right places, then I'm going to quite literally put, let's just stand these two up for instance, and I'm going to put sections of this timber cut to width, and it will be the bracing all the way along, and it will be set to the very height of these lugs, so that I can then add a small piece of picture framing board again, which would be 1.4mm, which will come just fractionally below the surface of the lugs, giving me the platform surface. What I actually haven't worked out how to do it yet is how to get the precise cut in here. What I have done on this curve is I put in the differential here, you'll see that there is a difference. If I put the pen on this mark here, then on the end of the wagon, or on the end of my longest carriage, then it will have a different arc to putting that in the center. So what will happen is you need to clear all of the vehicle. So by putting it in the center here and getting a different arc radius to this line here, then although we have a slight gap will occur on the front and the back end of the coach, it will indeed pass through the center. If I put it on this mark, then it will foul through the middle of the coach as it passes. So I've got to sort of give it that much more clearance. As I heard somebody else say, that because we don't have the ability to have prototypical curve in and out of station platforms in this fashion, we have to pay the penalty of that. And so one of them is the fact that we can't get this absolute smooth transition, I don't believe. If I'm wrong on that, please tell me. It's not a problem. I'll always stand to be corrected on that. Just running this down through here. So, okay, what have I been doing? Right, well, the first thing was obviously you needed to get all the spacings right. So I did use my longest train, and on an outward curve I went from the center of the coach with a pencil to give me an idea, and of course on this one where it's an internal and the other way, I went from the end of the wagon or the coaching stock so that it's a slightly deeper curve out. So obviously as this train comes out, the buffers and everything else will not foul on the edge of this, and then it straightens up very quickly down here. So what I did do is, first off, as I think I may have said previously, that I put in 1.4mm card, and the reason for that is that I wanted it to come up to a certain height. If I bring one of these down, maybe you can get some idea. I needed it to be a certain height to the running bars on the, the foot plates on certain different locos, and that's what I've managed to achieve. And then because I'm using code 75, the 1.4, and this just brings it up to what I consider to be the right level. It may be slightly out, slightly wrong, but I think it's pretty good. And then what I did is I used a hot glue gun. Now I started on each one of these independently, and although you see an awful lot of glue in here now, it was only tacked every so often down until I got the thing right. I then put these bracings in. These are cut from 17.3, or as close as I could make it to 17.3, which brings it level with the top of this lip so that it will fully support the top card as I put this in later on. And there's just enough to get in there and leave a little bit. I may use, I was going to use mount card, which is at 1.4mm. I think that just brings it just below the top there, but if I want to put a good screw on top of some other tile grout or something else, then I need to make it maybe 1mm card. And what I'm going to do because of that is I'm going to further cross brace this, and I'm going to put diagonals in like so to give this further support all the way along. It's possibly considered over engineering, but I feel that at the end of the day it will be safer for me. What I'm also going to do is along these lead edges on every side where this paper or card goes right up to the cork, I don't want it swelling in the future, either through putting any ballasting down, or indeed over time through damp and what have you in the garage. So to that end, I'm going to seal this off with a PVA mix all the way along here. I'm being very careful because I do not want to get it all over the fascia of the walls. On here, I sort of put in end pieces of Pico track, you know, the edging, but I then didn't want to waste it all the way down through the back. There's pointless. This area here is going to have a building or something up on here, maybe some arches running along the back there, maybe the suggestion of a shorter piece of thing here, so you've got that much room, and then maybe a road or something else on top with arches. I'm not sure yet, but what I didn't want to do is waste edging. So I just put it to here, and then I use this part. So this can come off and sort of come out and be scenic, and then this will just have whatever it has on the back of this platform going back to the wall. And I've done the same this end. So I've got a nice platform, and a nice deep platform. On this side, I was going to have another platform here coming out to about here. It seemed a little bit daft. It just didn't seem to work. So two options: I can widen this and put the platform in at a later date if I wish to, but my gut feeling is I want this to be some sort of a little bit, not derelict in a sense, but a little bit of an unused and only occasionally used siding for goods, so that something can come in and sit here goods wise, and it'll have sort of grass and stuff coming off here to an edge. That way I get a little bit of green into an otherwise flat industrial area. I think that would look nice. So at the moment, that's my thoughts, and we are having, or I'm having, other thoughts of bringing some sort of a road down, so we give this a little bit out here and have something else coming off here that goes up to a hill over the back corner. So I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I just wanted to show you where we were at with this and what I'm going to do to finish these off to this point. And then in the next video, or somewhere down the road, not sure when, that I start putting the tops in. And for those, I'm going to make a thin paper template. So I'm going to strap it down one side of each one, and then make a template here which I can sort of use, and I know the width of these, so then I can cut fairly accurately with board, or 1mm board, or 1.4mm mount board, whichever I use, and I can get these fairly accurately placed, so that hopefully with a little bit of trimming only I can get them all sat in. And if I'm using long board, long mount board, jumbo board, I can get pretty much the whole of this one done out of a single, split once somewhere down here. It will go so far and split once. And the same for this one and this one, of course. And yeah, so there we go. That's the little update with regards to the platform so far. Hi everybody, and welcome back. This is the end of day 3's build on these platforms, and I don't mean day 3 as in the start. It took several days of work to prep these sidings in the first place, weld them and paint them, but I'm talking about the actual fitting. And it really worried me, the whole thing at the start, about doing this, because I had no idea what I was doing. You're talking to a guy that merely used Hornby platforms on his last build, and the actual thought of creating custom platforms in specific areas that I'd created quite frankly frightened the life out of me. But with some confidence and kick up the backside from one or two friends of mine out there, and then you know who you are, I actually bit the bullet, as it were, bought the stuff and decided to have a go. And they're bomb-proof, they're just not going anywhere. And this one, as you can see, I had the time of my life today, didn't I? My fingers are so sore, I can't tell you. I have been cutting little bits of wood. Now, many of you are probably turning around and say, well, why did you bother? You don't need to do all that. Probably I don't know. I just, again, I don't want anything happening. I don't want any bowing or buckling of whatever paper card substrate I put on top of here in the final effect. So I just put this extra bracing all the way through. I'm going to do something on these two as well. Not today, probably not for a week or two once my fingers have healed. But I will probably do some at some point and get that finished off before I put the tops on. Now I'm not going to do these tops for a little while because I've been very busy with my painting channel of late, and it's prevented me getting in here doing anything much to the layout itself. I've done little bits of filming here and there, but mainly been working on these sidings and the platforms for the last few weeks. And so with the painting channel and my Patreon channel for painting, I've been kept pretty busy, and alas, I've got to get straight back to that tomorrow and create new films for that and engage and stream stuff for the patrons. So this is going to take a little bit of a back seat for a few days. I will do my utmost to get back on it very, very soon and start prepping the tops. And how Now, I went to great lengths, and I have to say I went to amazingly great lengths to find that, you know, using the correct space and height and using micrometers and everything I could to get this right. I spent a lot of time on it, and I got it right, at least I thought I did. The first casualty of my super efficiency was my 08. The 08s will not go down any of these. They hit this side on here. I thought that was the only problem. I started doing all other tests, and I found that my 2 bill and my 4 CEP, which I've recently got, snag on a platform on this side, but also on this inner curve. Now this, I think I can just shave a little bit off. It won't notice if I'm very, very careful how I do it, and I should get away with that. It's very minimal. Nothing fouls apart from the 08 down the center on the mains or anything else. But what I will show you is I started to play around with one edge, and in the immortal words of Mr. Ray Winston from the film King Arthur, what a bloody mess. There you go, you can see what I've been doing, and I have literally ripped out this side of the platform, and I'm cleaning off bit by bit. As you can see, it's come apart up there. I have cleaned it, cleaning off all the glue on this side. Now hopefully I'm going to relay this section, and hopefully these will not need any work doing to them and can remain as they are. This will have a little bit of a shaving on this section here. So yeah, I just wanted to bring you up to speed that all those lovely little running shots, well, say lovely, you know what they are, running shots, have now been completely screwed up by the fact that this has got to be redone and changed its position, so that maybe also by doing it this one, I give this one a little bit more room so that I can at least run an 08 down here and down here. Okay, hot on the heels of the last bit, here's another bit. The postman's just been, and he's just brought me my latest acquisition, which is a Hornby 4-car VEP class 423 and BR blue. And yeah, I missed one of these, I used one of these on eBay just a week ago, and I searched around and did a deal with a shop that had one new, believe it or not, and this is brand new, and I got it for the same price as the used one. So yeah, I was really pleased. I paid £130 including the postage. I'm very, very happy at that too. So there we are. I'm gonna unwrap this one and put this on track because it is already chipped. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sandling Junction. What a bloody mess I'm in. Excuse my language. It's gone from bad to worse. I had what I felt to begin with. I'd worked a couple of weeks on these platforms to get them about right, and I thought I had, and I'd taken almost micrometer meterage to get all the heights spot on, and I think I was within half a mil or just on half a mil gap on most stock until I got a CEP, a VEP, and went round with some of my diesels like my 33s and 24s, and I just got too close. I think some of the bracing had pushed them out a little bit too proud, but these things were skimming. They weren't quite. I could have possibly sanded down the edges, but I didn't really want to get involved in doing that. I already knew that my 8 class would not go down. I got several of those, so they would be left to just this outside track. I started pulling this one up and cleaning it, and the more I did, the more I got a little bit annoyed with the whole thing. And this one, I thought, could I get away with it? The more I looked at it, and then I put stuff down the mains and the other and they were catching. And I was very, very careful how I did them, but at the end of the day, as friends have told me, even if you had a 2mm gap each side, which is plenty to allow anything to pass down, that's only 6 inches in the real world. And there are plenty of platform stations where, you know, it's more than 6 inches away from the edge. So I think I've just been over careful, over trying to get it right, and I just fell foul of that. So it's cost me. I've got next to no, I've got so many cuts on my fingers where I've been pressing probably 30-40 foot. I don't know how many feet there are in here, but if you say an average of 6 foot, and there are 5 actually that I've done. There's a lot of footage that I had to sit and carefully pick all the plastic off, clean all the paper off to get these prepped up. Now I'm going to have a clean up and hopefully glue some of these where they come apart together. Thankfully the paint job, there's just 1 or 2 areas, I think that's probably the only one I've seen actually, where it needs some attention, where it's got a little bit marked. But yeah, lesson learned. Again, following on the heels of my last chip fitting expertise, this one has also how not to do something. So I will put bits and pieces of the platform build in to this video and this little update, just to show you where I'd got with it. And I leave the painting of it for another time. That's a video on its own, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Take care, guys. Catch you all soon. Bye-bye. Well, I've got to say I am glad that is over. That is probably the worst thing I've had to do on this layout since I started the whole process. I've got to repair 1 or 2 of these that have come adrift. 1 or 2 of the lugs have snapped off here, but they will be braced accordingly and fitted in. Some of the lumps of plastic are still evident, but they are above where it needs to sit flat, so that's not a problem. And most of it is clean of anything at all. So hopefully what I've got to do now, once these are glued back together, is to reposition them, re-glue them down, and start all this process of bracing them up again. There we are. This is a lovely 4EP in BR blue with yellow warning ends. I actually didn't realise that the motor unit is this one. Not this one or these, of course, but just this one. It does make a bit of a hum. It may be because it's a new, but 10 years sitting in the box since it was launched. So maybe just a gentle run round, bit of oil on, and that will ease the motor and bed it in nicely without too many problems. Okay everyone, and welcome back for the final bit of this update. And you can see it's a hot day, shorts are on, and I've got back to where I was a week or so back. You can see I've got trains running, got a 4CP, and I've got the VEP coming around very, very shortly. There she comes. Both running very, very well. Really, really happy. Yeah, what can I say? It's taken a long time, but although it was a painful sometimes and infuriating and annoying process to have to rip it all up and start it again, we have got it back, and I hope that it's as rigid as it was before. I just want to seal the paper off down the side with some PGA, but yeah, we're done. And so it's been a bit of a long update, but I will end with a bit of running shots of these two characters going around and down some of these, and catch you all soon. Thanks for watching, and by the way, we have I'm gonna shut up for a second. These are way too noisy. I love it. What I do want to just say is thank you ever so much to all the new subscribers that have supported the channel. We've just gone past 3,000 subscribers, so that is unbelievable, and thank you very much for everybody who enjoys watching the content that I put out there, including all my mistakes, cock-ups, mess-ups and all the rest of it. So yeah, catch you all soon, catch you all in the next video. Won't be so long the next one. Take care now. Bye bye. Happy modelling. Stay safe. Bye bye.